Hello, and welcome to the Wild Blue Podcast, perspectives on aviation lives, lifestyles, and business.
Hi, this is Chris Kirk at Wild Blue Aircraft Sales, joined this morning. He's back with us, the man, the myth, the legend, Todd Mitten.
Well, it's great to add some actual entertainment to one of your podcasts, Chris.
I don't know if they're my podcasts. I think people tune in to listen to you. So Todd is here, and hey, while we're thinking about it, welcome to the Wild Blue Podcast, and be sure, if you would, to subscribe, to share the podcast. We appreciate it, and give us any ratings that you have on your podcast platform, if you would, as well. So our contact information: Todd is Todd, Todd, at flywildblue.com. I'm Chris, CHRIS, at flywildblue.com. You can reach us at 888-773-4249, or if you just want to check us out on the website at flywildblue.com. And so even though we are in the airplane sales and acquisitions business, some of our podcasts relate to that, some of them don't. We just kind of like to have fun sharing some of our experiences. Todd and I both fly professionally, he for brand X and me for brand Y, and so we kind of like to, we've been flying our whole lives, and like to share some of that stuff with you and just have a little fun. So today we're going to, given the time frame here, we're about 3 weeks, I guess, aren't we? 3.5 weeks prior to Oshkosh.
Yeah, less than that, I think.
And we thought maybe it would be fun. This was Todd's idea. We thought it would be fun to do a podcast on just some of our experiences through the event itself, how we've gotten in there, what we do, things we go see, things that we think maybe are important to check out, because it is, as you just said, very overwhelming.
It is, and the idea isn't here to be a guidebook from EAA or something like that. We are just going to talk about our experiences and some lessons learned, and also ideas for the future, regrets I have every year that I should have done, wished I'd done. Maybe this year I'll remember to do, kind of stuff. So I don't know, where do you want to start, Chris? Should we start with just getting there?
Well, we could do that. I do want to share that for this year we are, so Todd and I and a group of other people and our families, we're renting a house this year. So we typically go up, and I say we, me and my family typically go up for about, I think normally it's the whole week. Sometimes we'll skip out on Saturday.
Right.
This year we're going up Monday through Sunday. And then you and Brenda are going up.
We go, this year we'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. And then your son Grant, he's going to be there.
Yeah, Grant will be there probably at least an extra day. I can't remember what days he's going to be there.
I think he's longer than you guys are.
Yeah, I think he is. And I have to ask you for my son's schedule, I guess, because you know it better than me, because you arranged the rental house and he just worked through you.
Yeah, we work it out. It's fun, but anyway, that's kind of what we're doing this year. But yeah, go ahead and start off. How do we get there? I mean, what have you guys done
there are
in the past?
options. Obviously, people drive, people fly in. Flying in is fun, and I've had the opportunity to do that several times. I've done it. I used to have a partnership in a Cherokee 180, and I did it that way, which led to camping on the North Florida. And then also I've flown my RV-8 in, and that's fun too, because you get to park at the experimental, where the experimental airplanes park. So that's in close. And if you do fly in, obviously you've got to be up on the NOTAM that everyone talks about. I would say this, that if you can avoid flying in on Saturday, Sunday, maybe into Monday, it's really pretty easy. If you fly in on the days when everyone's getting there, it's quite the challenge. In fact, it's fun just to listen on liveatc.net at the crazy goings on. But if you fly in, was it last year or 2 years ago? I flew in on like a Tuesday, and it's very easy at that point. I hardly saw another airplane. So
wow.
That's something I don't think people think about. I've heard people say, I'll never fly in there. That's just too crazy. Well, don't fly in there on the mad rush days, and it's really not that big of a deal.
And then leave on an off day too.
Yeah. The time when you're leaving makes it. You're right, because if you're trying to get out of there at the end, there's always a line to get out. But anything in the middle of the week, it's not that hard.
So you camp out there. There's showers available. There's little convenience stores.
Oh yeah,
you take your own gear with you.
They've done such a good job of setting it up for people who are camping, and that would include camping out in Camp Scholler. I think they there's always, in my opinion, plenty of good facilities.
Now, you guys are driving this year?
Yes, we are driving.
Yeah, that's what we do. I flew on in once. Probably told this story before. That's okay. I'm getting old enough where I just tell these stories over and over again. You just got to laugh at them. But I've flown in once, and that was in the T-38.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was way back when.
That is a good story.
And that was fun because we get in there. We had no VHF radio. It's only UHF. And so we only had, you could talk to a controller, and that frequency was quiet. I mean,
yes.
They're wanting us to land on 9 or 27. We couldn't. The runway was too short, so we had to orbit out south. And this was before cell phones and all this, but one of the coolest things I've ever seen was there was a P-50. We're just in a kind of a 30-degree bank turn, orbiting around. My buddy Dave and I are flying, and Dave's got the airplane. I'm sitting in the back seat, just kind of watching at for traffic, and here comes a P-51 with an F-15 on his wing, rejoining on us. And it's like the big fish story. I got nothing to prove it, but that was cool. But yeah, ever since we just drive.
And driving it's kind of fun to see that part of the country, and it's to me it's just an enjoyable place to go actually see some other things. If you do have the chance to drive, I would recommend some other things in Wisconsin. Go tour a lake. Go to Madison. Madison's a wonderful town. So if you are stuck driving, take advantage of the time. That's my opinion.
Yeah. There's a lot to do. That's kind of why we like having the car. Is that sometimes, and we go for a week, so sometimes there might be somebody that doesn't want to go to the show, but usually with all of us, we're there every day. But occasionally, you want to go out and you would grab a bite to eat, or any other things. So it's we go back through. We started this last year, and I've been told we're doing it again this year. In Dodgeville, Wisconsin, Land's End has this huge warehouse, and they do I don't know if it's like a sale on their seconds or what it is.
Oh, really?
It's a zoo, and you go in there, and we loaded up. I think we spent $300 there last year. Ended up with a new winter jacket, some new shoes. Everybody ended up with some stuff. Probably 3-4 times that amount of stuff retail. So we load up on that stuff coming home.
Yeah, I did not know about that. That's
so
good
Dodgeville. Check it out.
Right there. Have you ever been to the House on the Rock there?
No, but Erica was showing me that. Maybe it was you showing me it. Somebody was the other day.
No, it wasn't me, but that's quite a fascinating place to see too.
Yeah,
that's down in southwest Wisconsin.
Yeah,
we drive. As our regular listeners know, we're in the Kansas City area, and so we are driving that from that part of the country up, which tends to lead you through Dubuque, Iowa, and then on up across Wisconsin by Madison and on up to Oshkosh. Now, what Brenda and I like to do sometimes, if we drive, we'll go to Moline, where I grew up, and see my parents are buried at the Rock Island Arsenal, and so we'll take a trip through Moline. So we don't do the Dubuque route. It's a little longer to go through the Quad Cities, but it's also more. It's just an excuse to go back to that part of the country where I grew up.
Yeah, that's nice too, and. I think this year we've got a hotel just north of Madison for the first night.
Oh, really?
We can't check into the Airbnb until
Monday. Right. But, so we'll have to find somewhere to stay.
Yeah, because I'm going to be at the.
That's a good point.
I'm going to be at the Brand Y booth a couple days there.
Yes.
And so I have to be there by noon.
You got a job. A job.
I know. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, so that's kind of variety of ways to get there, and then obviously the ways to stay there. We wanted to just kind of here's the thing about it. And Todd, I mean, I'm going to say this again and again. If you haven't been there, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming if you have been there. But that's kind of the fun with it. I mean, there's just so much to see. There's so much to do. If you're really an aviation enthusiast, there's you really just never get tired of it.
Well, it's aviation overload.
It is.
It really is. And it doesn't matter what you're into. If you're into general aviation, which we certainly are, there's plenty of that. If you're into, I don't know, pick a helicopters. If you're into drones, if you're into short takeoff and landing, if you're into seaplanes, any niche thing in aviation, you can find a major display of that. Not just a side thing, but a lot. So,
and even if you're not so much into aviation, they've got some other things there that kind of keep people interested.
That's true.
So I know one of our friends that goes up there. She goes to these craft fairs that are part of it, and they've got that up there. They've got they'll have motorhomes up there. They've got these guys that do performance racing up there. And so there's other stuff that there is, and you go through those hangars that are where the booths are. And there's a lot of non-aviation related stuff
for
in
sale, right?
Yeah.
And things that even vacation ideas, things of that nature. It's just in a way, it's a big trade show.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So,
yeah,
even if you are the aviation fan in your family, there's something that your spouse or kids or others can find that will keep them interested. And of course, really, at the end of the day, most everyone likes an air show. And every day there's going to be an air show.
At 2 o'clock every day.
And the 2 night shows, I don't know what nights.
Wednesday and
Saturday, I believe. So there's always that going on also. There's something for everyone. Most people are going to enjoy the air show.
Yeah. Just plan ahead when you go. So things like you got to anticipate the weather. Now, last year, the weather was fantastic the entire week. I mean, it was gorgeous. I know it rained pretty heavy a couple days prior, but, man, it never got hot. It was not humid. I've been there. The day back in the 90s, I took the T-38 in there. I remember we're out there in our bags, and, it's 100 degrees plus out there, and it was miserable. Some years you're going to have those hot and humid days. Other years you're going to have to put up with the rain. You just don't know what you're going to get.
That's true. So what should people bring? I mean, you kind of talk about clothing, but what else?
Good walking shoes.
Right.
Sunscreen.
How about lawn chairs or something like that? If you drive in, it's kind of handy because maybe you can leave some things in the trunk of your car. But you may be parked half a mile away, so now it always becomes a dilemma to me. Do I drag this chair around so I can go sit and watch the air show later? Or do I drag it around all day? Or do I go back to the car to get it? That's a challenge.
Erica got these things, and I don't remember what they are, but they fold down really small. So you're sitting on the ground, but you have back support. So you can kind of sit there and lay down. And I think it's even got like a little sunshade, so you can keep your head out of the sun while you're watching the air show, but you still have really good visibility.
Yeah, you got to have, which brings up a point, besides you mentioned sunscreen, but you got to have a hat, you got to have sunglasses, all that kind of stuff. So it's an outdoor deal, without a doubt. Even though there's plenty of times you can get indoors, go walking through the trade show display type stuff and all that, you still at the end of the day want to have...
bring a refillable water bottle. There's those stations that are there.
Yes.
I bring a pretty good sized battery, and by the end of the day, everybody's got their phones charging on my battery.
Yeah.
So it's it's not that big of a deal to carry it around with us.
No, backpack is handy to have.
Yeah.
If you have a backpack, you can carry these extra items that I am looking forward this year because we have a house. I don't have to worry about, as opposed to camping where you got to bring, flashlights and things like that. I'm not so worried about some of the extra things like that. But it does take some planning, without a doubt.
Well, if you drive in, you can buy tickets. In fact, I just was looking through our stuff. We got our tickets early, and we get a parking pass. And so you can get the parking pass, and they've got great shuttles that run to and from. And so you can do that. The shuttles are right there for the most part. All the parking lots are for the most part right there on the grounds, but it's still a pretty hefty hike.
It is. It's definitely a distance.
So if you're one of those people that tracks steps, you'll have 15,000 steps in a day, easy. Problem.
I set my all-time record there. I want to say 27,000.
Is that right?
Kind of nutty thing like that. It was nutty. Grant and I walking everywhere.
Yeah.
My son is Grant, and so that we talk about. That's kind of some logistics stuff, but what do you like to do? How's your day spent typically?
So yeah, we get there in the morning, and I will say there's lots of food options and stuff like that. If you're a coffee connoisseur, get coffee before you show up to the show, because the coffee there is not very good.
Not good.
But in fact, I sent them a message one day and said, hey, we would even be willing to try to do something with a charity to put a better coffee out there. Because it's anyway, because there's so much going on. And if you subscribe to any number of places, I'm getting alerts from Garmin, I'm getting alerts from Savvy, I'm getting all these different alerts on, hey, we're going to be here at this time. So I start writing stuff down, and then before we end up, it's usually the day of, I think we get there, I'll get the what do they call it, the program out that they hand out, and I'll go through there and I'll make a schedule on all the things that I want to see, because there's a lot of them that are repeats.
Yes.
But sometimes there's one-offs that you can only see one time. And so I want to try to see those one-offs, and if I have to reschedule for a repeat, I can. But I try to go to seminars. It's just so much. There's seminars, there's hands-on activities. You learn how to work with metal or composites. You'll have the old guys talking about their experiences flying airplanes, especially during the war.
So when Chris talks about a program, or it's like a newspaper that comes out, they put it out every day, but when you get there, it has a schedule throughout the entire week, and there's these forums. And I imagine this is online too.
Mm-hmm,
but
is.
Toward the very end,
they have an app, and you can see it all on their app.
That's true. You definitely want to download the app prior to going. The EAA app for Oshkosh, for AirVenture, I should say, since that's the name. Every day there is probably 60 or more forums.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's 60 plus forums. So, and I really realized how down in the weeds it is when I remember the first year looking at it. There was Pan Am operations in Africa in 1940 or something. Man, such a broad topic. How are they going to cover that? I thought to myself at the time, okay, that's how detailed some of these are. And they could be, some of them are historical in nature, some of them are informational in nature, some of them are very specific to certain types of airplanes or flying.
Right. Or products.
A good, or products, yeah. A good example, I've been a long time member of the American Bonanza Society.
Right.
And they have every day several forums in the ABS tent.
We've been there together.
Yeah, and so you can learn specifics about Bonanza. Some of them are I think more generic, like would you be interested in owning a Bonanza type, and some are very specific to turbo normalized operations in the A36 Bonanza or something like that.
Right.
So they can be broad or specific, and that's why it's a good idea to look ahead, to plan. It's well worth attending a forum or two each day while you're there. Usually, typically, 45 minutes long,
45
something
minutes
like
to
that.
an hour, yeah.
And so they're not going to eat up all your day, but they go on constantly.
And they're a good respite from the sun sometimes.
Yes.
And, getting out of that.
Get out of the sun, maybe you're into gliders. So we're kind of interested in learning about gliders.
Oh, yeah.
Something, just any, because the topics, if it's aviation related, someone's talking about it that week.
Yeah. And you meet so many people. That's what's kind of fun about it. You run into people, you talk to them. Sometimes you strike up a conversation. Well, last year, we met the folks from the UK, and we ended up meeting them at the end of the day, going to the beer tent and having a beer with them, and And we took them out to dinner one time, and actually I think they ended up paying it.
Oh, wow.
And it was funny, as I was in London the other day, and I was just texting back and forth with one of them, and trying to figure out if we could get together. So
nice.
It's neat the kind of people that you meet.
My example, first Oshkosh I attended was in 2015 or 2016. All those years, and I never went for some reason. Finally did. Flew my Cherokee 180 in camp, but at that time, this restaurant has since closed. But there was a restaurant you could walk through an access gate from the North 40 out to I don't remember the name of it, but they served breakfast. And I was standing in line waiting to get in. I was by myself, and there were two guys there in line behind me, and the hostess said, "Would you three mind sitting together?" Because she had a table for four open, and her comment was, "You're all here for the same reason, so you may as well." Well, as it would turn out, unbelievably, these two guys had flown a Cessna 182 up from Uruguay, Montevideo, Uruguay.
Really?
all the way up the South American continent, and then across into the United States, and all the way up to Oshkosh. I mean, if that doesn't give you an idea of just how big of a deal this is.
Yeah.
And that was so cool to meet these guys. And they didn't speak the best English, but I'll never forget that. What a neat experience. And eventually, so I followed them on Facebook, and just an amazing who you're going to meet there. You never know. And that's another thing. You might find yourself just oddly enough talking to someone of relatively even more well known than you, Chris. Just in a kind of a private setting.
Yeah.
Just the way the deal works. So
there's so much of that there's networking opportunities if you're into that kind of thing. We've met clients there before.
Yes, we have.
There's just so much, and so, like I said, there's just something you're new always. Looking around, checking out the new airplanes, going down to the RV area or the experimental area and checking out all the latest designs. Seeing what AOPA is giving away for the year. It's just
the FAA. They have, if you have medical questions, it's probably a good opportunity. If you're concerned about passing your flight physical, or you're thinking about doing basic med, there'll be forums on that type of a topic. The FAA has a pretty big presence there. I want to say useful presence, like not. They're there to help. Actually, I think
they are. They've been very good. If you with the mechanic shortage, pilot shortage, if you or somebody else I think every school is there.
Yeah, they're all schools plus a lot of regional airlines are recruiting.
Yep, a lot of the majors are there recruiting.
Yep. I think our two employers approach it a little differently. Back at Brand X, they do a very nice job with the honor flight every year, and I know that's going on.
That's cool.
They were looking for guys to fly that this year, and it is an Airbus, what I fly, and I thought that would be a fun one to volunteer for, but I'm already working that happens later in the week, and I got to go back. I got a trip that week, so unfortunately I can't do it, but that would have been something that I would have looked forward to doing.
Right.
That would be cool, flying there in the Airbus.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be a lot of fun. Well, what else? Anything else we can pass on to folks?
Well, I think that if someone, if you happen to hear this podcast ahead of Oshkosh and you're going to be up there, don't hesitate to reach out. Chris gave our emails, Todd@flywildblue.com, Chris@flywildblue.com, and reach out and let us know. We'd love to meet any listeners we have that just want to say hi or want to talk about airplanes, whether you're talking about selling or acquiring an airplane, right, or thinking about selling yours and don't want to deal with the hassle yourself. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we'd love to visit with you, and moreover, I think if you got ideas on things that we're missing out on there, because there's so much, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear about it.
That's a great point. I have to this year. I said this before, Chris and I were talking earlier. I have to do a better job of planning this year. I'm the worst. I just get there, and every year, I've been going a lot of years. Every year since whatever that was, 2016. I might have missed one, and I'm still like a wide-eyed kid the first 2 days. I just keep something shiny, and I don't know. I need to do a better job of but that's how it is. That's all these years of flying, all these years of attending that, of being around airplanes, and yet it produces that same reaction out of me every year.
Yep, I agree. Well, Todd, it's been fun. Give us a call. Make sure you, again, subscribe or share. Check us out at flywildblue.com. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Wild Blue Podcast. Find us online at flywildblue.com. And don't forget to subscribe and share.